Arsenal could have better luck signing £33 million monster over Douglas Luiz, and David Ornstein reveals Arsenal's current transfer plan and stance on a £100 million ace. Watch until the end to understand all the details. But before that, if you are also passionate about Arsenal, subscribe to the channel now and stay up to date with everything that happens behind the scenes of the biggest team in the Premier League. And without further ado, let's get to today's news. It was revealed earlier this month that Arsenal viewed Douglas Luiz as the perfect player to slot into their midfield, but Edu Gaspar was warned that a deal would be near impossible to complete. Despite a recent blip in form, Aston Villa are flying high in the Premier League under former Gunners boss Unai Emery, and Luiz has been their standout player this season. The Brazilian has been an integral cog in the Spaniards' midfield, with Villa slapping a £100 million asking price onto his head and essentially stating he isn't for sale. Whilst this hasn't prevented Arteta from viewing him as a top priority, Arsenal have been linked with other names, including Real Sociedad's Martin Zubimendi and Everton's Amadou Onana. The latter is someone who has impressed at Goodison Park since arriving from Lille for £33.5 million in August 2022. According to a report by journalist Simon Collins of the Evening Standard, who has detailed each of Arsenal's possible signings ahead of January, Onana making a move to the Emirates is plausible. It is believed that Arsenal could have more luck signing Onana than Luiz next month, given the fees that both players command. While little else is added beyond that, the Belgian Titan is someone who could fit into the Gunners' midfield like a glove and would be a worthy long-term replacement for Thomas Partey. Standing at 6'4", the midfield colossus has displayed attributes that Arteta craves in his midfield, and could be a smart addition to potentially slot alongside Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard. Should Arsenal sign Amadou Onana? While all signs point towards Arsenal targeting loan deals and prioritising a defender in the January transfer window, midfield cover is necessary. With Partey potentially on his way out of the club, Arteta is particularly short in that area, with only Jorginho and Mohamed Elneny to call upon as backup. Given they are so desperate to prize Luiz out of Villa Park, it is clear that the Spaniard wants to bolster his midfield, and he should look no further than Onana. Hailed as one of the best midfielders in Europe by Roberto Martinez after signing for Everton, Onana has delivered on that praise with his performances on Merseyside. The 22-year-old is a tough-tackling midfielder whose ability to disrupt opposing teams and break up play is impressive. Having shown those attributes since arriving in England, he was subsequently labelled as a monster by writer Raj Chauhan, while monstrous displays are exactly what he would bring to the Emirates. He would be a huge upgrade on Partey and the perfect foil alongside Odegaard and Rice in the heart of Arsenal's midfield. Transfer journalist David Ornstein has now revealed where Arsenal currently stand in their pursuit of Ivan Toney. Arsenal have been heavily linked with a move for Brentford striker Ivan Toney for some time now. Whilst Arsenal are known to be on the lookout for a new striker, it will be difficult for the North London club to make a landmark signing in the upcoming January transfer window, as they only have a limited budget at their disposal as things stand. Toney would not come to the Emirates Stadium cheaply. According to David Ornstein, speaking to BBC Sport, Toney is under contract until the summer of 2025, so it's Brentford's last opportunity to maximise their value in him. That doesn't mean it's going to happen though, because the price is going to be really high. They'd like £100 million, and who is prepared to pay that? I think there's been some interest, but no real contact at this stage. You've got Arsenal, rumoured to be after Ivan Toney, but I don't know of any developments on that front. Their plan for a striker would be more to look towards the summer for financial reasons. I wouldn't rule out free agency in the summer of 2025. Brentford would want to tie him down to a new deal, but I don't think they'd get to the salary levels he'd want. Maybe a release clause in there, but I think that would be a massive risk for Ivan Toney. £100 million would be a huge price to pay for Toney. Of course, the once-capped England man is an excellent player and has proven his ability to be prolific at Premier League level, having netted 20 times in the competition last season. However, the 27-year-old is currently serving a ban for breaching betting rules, and as such has not played at all so far this season. He is not due to return to action until January, and will undoubtedly, and understandably, be rusty when he does take the field again. Toney will need some time to get back up to speed with playing at the highest level. It would therefore be a huge ask for Tony to hit the ground running at Arsenal if he were to join the club in January. However, instant impact is exactly what Mikel Arteta would require from any striker arriving this winter. Arsenal look set to be involved in a tight title race this season. Anyone who arrives to bolster Arteta's ranks in January must be able to contribute significantly to this title push from the off. Does Mikel Arteta need a new striker? There is certainly a strong argument that a new striker ought to be at the top of Arteta's shopping list this winter. Gabriel Jesus, for all his quality, is far from prolific and endured a dreadful time in front of goal against West Ham United last time out. The Brazilian forward has just 3 Premier League goals to his name so far this season. The Gunners need a more clinical presence leading the line, and Jesus has himself admitted that goal-scoring is not one of his greatest strengths. It would seem, though, that Tony is not considered the solution to this issue facing Arteta's squad. It could be that the Gunners are not able to bring in the talismanic striker they need until the summer. If that is the case, there will be real pressure on Jesus to up his game in the second half of the campaign. Iconic former Arsenal striker Ian Wright wants to see Gabriel Martinelli take a more aggressive approach in matches. Gabriel Martinelli was far from his best when Arsenal lost 2-0 to West Ham United last time out. In fact, the Brazilian attacker has struggled for form in general so far this season. Mikel Arteta has spoken out about the player's importance and suggested how he might improve, but the fact remains that Martinelli has contributed just 4 goals and 3 assists across 22 appearances in all competitions so far this season. Last season, the 22-year-old was a far more potent force, racking up 15 goals and 6 assists in 46 outings. With Gabriel Jesus also now struggling for goals, and Bukayo Saka having not found the back of the net in his last 5 Premier League appearances, Martinelli's struggles are really starting to hurt Arsenal. Against the Hammers, Arsenal took 30 shots, with Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus taking 13 between them, as per Who Scored statistics. Martinelli was responsible for just one of these efforts. The 9-cap Brazil international needs to pose a more direct threat to opposition defenses. Martinelli is an excellent finisher, but he simply isn't taking enough shots, or being direct enough in his play. His pace, flair, and capacity to beat an opponent in one-on-one situations are some of his greatest strengths. At present, though, they are not being put to the best use. Perhaps due to a lack of confidence, Martinelli has been far too conservative in his play in recent weeks. Ian Wright calls for Arsenal to unleash Gabriel Martinelli. Ian Wright certainly wants to see Martinelli become more positive in his play. Speaking on the Wright is House podcast, the former striker said, "You look at our build-up play, and it's very soccer-orientated. Odegaard, soccer, Odegaard, soccer. And when you look at Martinelli, especially earlier on when he was doing what he was doing, he was torching people. I would love to see at some stage Mikel find the same kind of service to him as quickly as they possibly can, because he is somebody that wants to go past on the outside or on the inside. If Martinelli gets the ball and there's 2 behind Martinelli, we know that he will try to take them on, but on the main, he will come back and pass it back. I hate to see Martinelli going back the other way because the ball has not got there quick enough. Those are the things that I am thinking we have to be quicker in getting the ball to him. It would certainly help Martinelli if the likes of Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice, and Alexander Zinchenko sought to find him quicker. The more time and space Martinelli can be given on the ball, the greater a chance he has to drive forward into a dangerous area. The most important thing, though, is that Martinelli is able to bring some conviction back into his game, and quickly. He is a phenomenal talent, but if his form does not improve, then his status as a nailed-on starter in Arteta's side must be questioned. Well, folks, those were today's news. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay informed about everything happening with our beloved team, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell so you won't miss any updates. Thanks for joining us, and see you in the next video.